probably notice while looking at the Premier League table? Let me help us. So let me just bring out the Premier League table outside so that everybody can see what I'm trying to say. So now, looking at this, what do you notice here? Yes, that's a very valid point. So the first thing is it's been arranged in rows and columns. Those two things. Now the second thing is that it has a very, very detailed order. Now what am I saying? For instance, look at this particular thing here. You have the header here that says club. So under that particular club, you have list of clubs. Similarly, you have matches played. Under matches played, you have what? The number of matches played. Similar for wins, draws, losses, goal difference, goals for, goals against. You understand it now? This is basically what your HTML table is talking about. So your HTML table is now like something you use what in structuring data. You know, as a front-end developer, you work with data a lot because one thing about data is that you'll be getting data from backend, and one thing that you're using those data to do is that you'll be manipulating it so that your users will be able to get access to it or view it or change it. So, for instance, you're on Instagram or you're on YouTube, right? You can see other people's pictures. You can see other people's. That is what that's data. You understand? So all of those things are actually they call something SQL, structured query language. That data stored in tables. You understand it now? We are not doing SQL here, but I just want you to know that certain data are what there's a way you store data in tables. Now, one thing that you as a front-end developer now need to understand is that certain data are what are well structured, and then you need to understand how to use HTML to structure this data. Is it clear? Or was I too fast? So that's basically what HTML table is talking about in a nutshell. But right here, right now, we're going to be talking about the basic things in which you use your HTML tables. So first things first, as you can see, the tables in HTML are used to in arranging data into rows and columns, making information easy to read and understand. Now, examples of data commonly displayed on this table is what? So you have student records, you have product list, you have contact information. In fact, you have a question. What's the question? What? This one. No. You still have access to it. It's your portal. I already like structured everything there. So as you can see, you should have week one to this week one, the videos of week one up until week 12. I'll still upload. You can also reach out to the secretary. So now you have structure of an HTML table. So now this is very, very important. How do you write your HTML table? Now, just like we did in forms, right? That before writing anything form, what do you do? I said something last week. No, let's talk about form for now. Let me remove this. So you won't get form. If you want to like create a form input, what's the first thing you have to do? Exactly, write the form tag. So you should have a form tag in which all the input goes into it. The same thing with your table. You first of all have your table tag, and then all other tables now will be inside that particular table. Now, one thing about table is that it is very strict. If it does not see that table tag, it will never treat that particular section as a table. So you need to make sure that first of all, it as a table tag. Let me see. Okay, I'm recording. It will never see it as a table tag. Now, let us create a table. So this is class what? Class 4, right? So now let us create a table. So in the main section, like I did in our last class, right? I'm going to go ahead and add a comment that says table. Don't worry about this. So we'll create a form tag that says table. Okay, so it's not coming up, so I have to create it manually. So that's table. All right. So now, as you can see, I've done exactly as I said. So the first thing you need to do is create a table form, not form, a table element. Create a table element. Now, inside of this table element is now where your main table is going to go into. Now, before we talk about table, there are certain things that I need you to know. The first thing is what I just said, the table, right? Now, you also need to know about certain tags. So you need to know about your TR, you need to know about your TD, and you need to know about your TH. See these three things, they are very important. Let me add table. Now, talk about table, right? I said your table is basically the parent tag of your table. Is that clear to everybody? That's the first thing that you need to write before you start writing your table. Before you start creating your table. Is it clear to everybody? Start John, are you here? Is it clear? All right. So now after doing that, you also need to worry about your TH. Your TH stands for your table head. Now, in your normal HTML, you have what we know as your H tags. That's your heading tags, right? What do you use your heading tags to do? You need to highlight. How does your heading tag look like? How many heading tags do you have? Good. How does it look like? Set something before. You always put exactly. So that's basically what your table head also is too. Your table head is just like your H tags. But this time around, they are using the word in tables to make sure that what you point emphasis on a particular thing. So, for instance, if you go to now, this is not even a good example, but let us look at it. If you go to this place now, this is like your table head. Your table head is like the beginning, saying that okay, under this is now where I'm going to have what your cloud, our data. You understand it now? That's what your table head is. Then you have your matches space, you have your wins, you have your draws, you have your losses, you have your goals for, goals against, goal difference, points, then your last 5 matches. So this is exactly what your table head is. I hope it's clear to us. Is it clear? Good. No, down is like your table is just here, like a description. And add that with your any tag that you want to use for that. All right. So moving on. That's what your TH is. Now your TR is also a very important thing. You see, I've not even started writing codes. I'm just trying to like explain what all of these things are. Your TR stands for what? Your table row. Now, what is your table row used for? Your table row is basically saying that what? Now, you know, I told you that your tables they are arranged in rows and columns, right? Now, what your table row means is that it is basically talking about what each row in your tables. Now, what is your row and column arrangement? When we talk about column is like this. When we talk about row is like this. You understand it now? So looking at this now, this particular data in this case, they are in one row. I see it. Sorry, I wasn't supposed to open that now. Okay. For a while. So yes. So now this is the other row. So let me over on a better club. So as you can see, this is one row here, Manchester United. So this is one row here. Looking at the next one, Aston Villa, that is another row. This is another row. This is another row. These are what? Rows. Then these are columns. Column. Now, so it is putting each data in separate rows. So the row for what Arsenal is different from what the row for Manchester United, different from the row for what City or Chelsea. You understand it now? That is what table row is. Then the next one is now like your TD. Your TD is now what? Your table data. So as you can see, you have your table data. So your table data is now the data inside of the of your table. So what are your data? So You need to get used to that word data as a developer. It's very important. Your data, this Arsenal is the data. This logo here is the data. This city here is data, right? This Aston Villa here is the data. This 24 years is inside of the world of the table. A data inside of the world of the table. Is it clear to you? That's why I say data. So now, let us try to build something similar, but not with Arsenal as number one. So we'll build something similar to this. Yeah, no. So, so we have something like this. So now, we have a table, right? And in this table, we want to get in certain things. So let's say you want to get in now. The first thing you want to get is that the club name. So let's just get the headers first. You want to get the club. You want to get the matches played. Get number of wins. You want to get number of draws. Okay. Okay. Let's say wins, draws, losses, then points. Nothing much. Just this. How many data? How many headers is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nothing much. Just this 6 data. How will you do it? The first thing that you need to know is that all of that they are headers, isn't it? That means they have to be on what? So now I'll ask you a question. I need everybody to just look at this. The club matches played, win, draw, losses, and all of this. Then what? Eh? That the table end, right? But there is something common between all of them. Exactly, they are in the same row. That means if you are going to do this, you have to create a table row for all of those things. Is it clear? Now, how are we going to do it? You are going to come right here and you are going to create a table row. So we are going to have TR, first of all. I think I have one already. So TR. Now, in this TR, we're not going to have what? How many table heads? 5, 6, right? So the first is the club. So let's just get. So I'm going to say table heads. Okay, coming up now. So table heads. So I'm going to duplicate this 5 more times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now the first is going to be what? Club. Second is going to be what? Matches played. So I'm going to make it cap. So third is going to be what? Win. Draws, losses. Then we're going to have what? Points. Now, if I decide to go live now, so let's try and go live. And let's try it. Okay. All right. Now, okay. Let me remove this one that's here. What's the top of top? All right. Okay, so I'll refresh it again and let's see that. All right, now looking at it now, what do we have? We have what? 12 matches played. This only was the same rule. Now you need to note this. Each data has to be in each group of data. They have to be what in the same table row. That means if I'm going to be putting data for Arsenal, they have to be what the same row. Not that I'm going to put Arsenal in one table row and I'm trying to like put Manchester United in that same table row. Why? They are what different data sets, different entities. So you need to what treat them as such. Now, if I want to update the club now, how am I going to do it? So I'm going to come to this particular place, not in that same table row, another table row, because that first table row has been exhausted. Now the next one is now going to be what? Okay, no, not Man City. Wolves have been okay. Manchester United. No. So matches played is what? Your team is going to be, let's say matches played. Yeah? So how many matches? Okay, let's just say that's exactly now you understand. So that TD now is for the data. Let's write it manually. No what? So now matches played. So let's say 38 wins, 38 draw 0, and losses also 0. Point 38 times 0. Let's just write. I think it should be 115. 115 or 120. And 125 also. I'm just joking. But you can write whatever it is you want to write here. 118. I think it's 118. So so as you can see, Premier League champions. So it's never going to happen. So now we have United as the first club, matches played 38, matches won 38, and then you have the points here. Now, similarly, if you want to do it for another club, we can now have another TR, right? So we'll now use this TR for another club. Now, as usual, the second place, Arsenal. You put it here. So Arsenal can now be your second. And then you can have, you see, I didn't even have to do anything. AI suggested Arsenal for me. So it's not my, as you can see, it's not my angle. No, as second, you understand? All right. So yeah, so that's it. So that's basically how all of these things are being done. So as you can see, you have United first, Arsenal second. Now this is basically how your data is going to keep going. Now you might be asking, this is not how table looks like. You have lines, right? That's separated. Now that is where CSS helps you. There's something called border in CSS that helps you structure all of these things the right way you want them. So when we get to CSS, we'll be able to talk about that. But for now, I need to be sure that we all understand how tables work. There's going to be a class of, so if you tell me yes, okay, there's going to be a class of, yeah. So do we understand it, or should I explain it again? I should explain it again. You understand? Do you understand Mr. John? Okay. Mr. David, Mr. Alex. I think this is very, very easy. Mr. Kelvin, very easy, right? All right. Okay, so let's move on. Now, the next, let's try to duplicate this data set. So I'm just going to write a random. Let me just duplicate it. So 7 minutes. Now, they're going to see Arsenal come down more now. But that's not the point. The point is now that, okay, wait. I think there's a problem with my, okay. Now, as you can see, we have how many teams now? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We have about 17 to 18 teams. Now, what problem that I feel like we will have is that looking at this place now, we're not having a number, like there's no number into it. So we don't actually know who is first or who is second. So if I may ask now, this is your classwork. You don't even have to do much. How are we going to create this particular logic? Logic. How are we going to do something like this? List. Order list. So I want everybody to do it. So what I want is that Manchester United will be first, Arsenal will be second, then you can write the rest for all the listing. You can actually put anything first. That's what you do. It's a classwork. It's a classwork. So now, like I said in our last class, I said one thing about programming is combination of different knowledge of things to be able to solve a problem. So you combine knowledge of everything you've learned since, and then you solve one problem. So now you should be able to do this in the next 10 minutes. Of course, I will put my so I'm going to stop recording here. So the next 10 minutes, I'll come back and see what we've done. Everybody will share their screen. You can even do for 5. Doesn't matter. As long as I can see one.